This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services.
And I'm Heather Branch here with Abe, asking for his insight on what you can be working on now as you get closer to or perhaps are already in retirement. You want to make sure that you've got your money in place to help you reach all the goals that you have for these years you've worked so hard to get to. The retirementkey.com is where you can start that conversation anytime. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there, or again, find us at theretirementkey.com. So it's fall. People are thinking about the holidays. People are thinking about end of year stuff.
Yes.
I guess there's tax cleanup things we can be doing.
Yes, of course.
People are worried about maybe market. There always seems to be market volatility in Q4.
Yeah. All of that.
That seems to come around, bite us in the butt. But this year, the question about what the Fed's doing, that's been the big, because we thought it was going to start happening in like as early as February or March of this year, Fed cutting interest rates.
That's right. The market's pricing all those rate cuts earlier this year. That's why a big reason why the markets have soared and all that anticipation.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are, still waiting. Hopefully, well, I guess it's just, again, it's all prediction. Seeing the Reserve starting to cut interest rates. And of course, many people are saying, oh, they're just getting started. They've got lots of cuts to come, which is what they've been saying all year long. So we'll see what happens. Right. Wealth manager Mark Newton was telling Fox Business that if the Fed's future cuts are more drastic, the market could feel a correction. Here's what he said.
You know, historically, it's been 2001, 2007 when the Fed cuts more than 25 basis points, and it's been problematic to stocks. So, yeah, there is about 200 basis points of cuts right now priced in between now and next July, which is an extraordinary amount right now. But we are in election year, of course, and you really want to be cognizant of that. The market's very ready for this of now. The Fed does not want to disappoint the market.
Ooh, he said 2001 and 2007, Abe. Those are fighting words.
Yeah, those are bad years in the markets that can just almost destroy a retirement plan for that period of time and maybe permanently, depending on where you are in your life and retirement.
Well, thinking about folks that have done so well then with the big bull run that we've been on for the past, I think is it almost 14 years now with a couple of dips?
I say so. You know, other than 2022, Heather, the market's been pretty much straight up.
So particularly for those who are closer in retirement then, is now the time that they need to take in some profits off the table, maybe rebalance portfolios for an uncertain time that might be in the near future? What are you recommending?
The answer is heck yes. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. Now is a time, and there's no perfect time to be doing something like this, Heather. But again, with the markets being up, almost 14 years in a row up till 2022, we had that pullback correction. Markets have hit all-time highs, 30 to 40 different times in 2024. People have more money than they ever have right now because the markets are higher than they've ever been. Isn't that a really great time if you're approaching retirement, 5 years or less away, 5 years into retirement, to clip in your gains, lock in some of these gains, put safety valves all over your life savings? Sure. There's so much going on right now. And interest rates and inflation will probably continue to be the biggest driver of what happens to the markets, in the near term. People are really concerned about the election and all these things. But, the last 20 of the last 24 elections, the markets have actually responded favorably and gone up. Only 4 of the last 24 elections, the markets went backwards after the new president came in. So really, you almost have to throw all of your emotion that is tied to the election outcome out the window. Yes, depending on who gets elected, things will change. We have different tax codes and all kinds of different things that could affect the markets, of course. Sure. But there's so much you can't control, so much going on out there. And you really want to focus in on your own personal finance and retirement plan. But yeah, absolutely. With markets being at all-time highs, now is a wonderful time if you're close to retirement or early in, to just wrap as much protection around your life savings as possible from market downturns, from higher taxes, from inflation, from healthcare problems and challenges, all these things that can mess up and destroy a great savings plan. Yeah. And so we just had a couple come in from Reston, Virginia. $3.5 million saved. Just a fantastic, wonderful job of accumulating, head to the ground, saving, working hard, maxing out accounts for years and years and years. They're in their early 60s, retiring in their mid 60s, about 3 or 4 years left. They came in for all of these concerns that most people have we're meeting with right now. The election right around the corner, the inflation and interest rate environment, markets being at all-time highs, which again is wonderful. But what happens and how would your retirement plan respond and react and handle volatility and a potential big downturn. And so these were all the reasons why they came in, and they've done a wonderful job of saving $3.5 million. They should cross well over 4 million, hopefully close to 5 million by the time they retire. As we did their portfolio x-ray, Heather, we found out they're invested like they're an 8 or an 80-20 when they truly want to be a 60-40.
Okay.
Taking on too much risk. They have no plan other than the $3.5 million that they have saved. In other words, they have an investment plan.
Right.
They have an accumulation plan, which so many people in the DC metro area have. This wonderful job of savings, but no clue how to cross over into retirement successfully. No clue how to turn this big bucket of money into income, an income generating machine that they can enjoy, and really no clue how to protect it from all the risks that can destroy it. In addition to all of this, we found out, because this couple does not have pensions. Pensions are almost a thing of the past.
Sure.
They do have $3.5 million now. They will have 2 Social Security checks, but they have a huge income gap and shortfall that needs to be fixed and tightened up, buttoned up here just 4 years away. It's $180,000 annual income gap, meaning that income has to come from their life savings in just 4 years.
Right.
That means their portfolio has to do a lot of work, and we need to continue to grow it, and they need to continue to sock money away into their 401ks and get the matches and all those things that they already know they needed to do. And really, they need to be closer to 5 million to be able to accomplish the income needs that they desire in retirement.
Wow. Okay.
Well, that's another $1.5 million
to save
added to the $3.5 million at this point.
Yeah.
Do you see how important it is to really come in when you have a short period of time in front of you to just get an assessment? Where do you stand today? Where do you stand? What have you done well? Right. And for them, it was all these things they need to start plugging away at, chipping away at, so that 48 months from now, they can actually pull the trigger and retire with dignity and confidence.
Okay.
That was all done through that portfolio x-ray and roadmap. The solution was a plan to start de-risking their life savings, bringing that 80-20 down to a 60-40. The plan to start chipping away at their future retirement income needs by protecting, by clipping in some of these gains, by putting a moat around this life savings castle that they have. So you may say, Abe, you know what? This couple sounds a lot like myself and my spouse, and we may not be in Reston, but we're in Maryland or wherever you find yourself right now listening to the podcast, but you've got a big bucket of money and you're concerned about it. You're concerned about markets hitting all-time highs. You're looking for ways to protect it, to generate income as you head into retirement here shortly. Go to our website, theretirementkey.com. Click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, and we can begin to have these same conversations about your income, your roadmap, and recession proofing for you as well.
We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there, or again, find us anytime at theretirementkey.com. All right, thinking about things that we can and can't control. We were talking about possible recessions, market dips, can't control that. An election, we do know that's coming every 4 years. We don't know what the administration will be. One election to the next. Something else that feels like we should have more control over than we do, because it's our own money and we're investing it, are the fees that we're paying. And I think maybe the lack of control really boils down to the lack of awareness that people have. Ted Benna is the man who he himself, Ted Benna, was the inventor of the 401k. He invented it back in 1978. And as it would turn out, he is not happy with the way things are turning out. The original plan was to have the employer cover administrative fees, but that's not the case, Abe. Instead of absorbing those fees, quote, greedy employers and providers are charging higher fees, some as high as 2.75% on that money that we're working so hard to earn and save. So let's talk about these fees and what we can do. What can we control?
Man, talk about termites just eating into your proverbial, financial house there. 2.75% is just, wow, out of this world high. But you're right, Heather. We see it often. We see people come in sometimes with products and investments that they bought years ago that are between 2 to 4% in fees, and they just don't know any better.
No idea.
They'll buy into these things and oftentimes not know how they work and not understand them.
Right.
Kind of just follow advice from somebody at work or their neighbor, and or from an advisor that they trust. And perhaps the advisor made a great recommendation for them at the time, advised on a product or a solution that was, that fit their needs at the time. But people's needs change. And, if you are paying 2, 3, 4% in product fees and things like that in a variable annuity or 401k or just an expensive product, could even be a REIT or something like that.
Yeah.
Man, you better be getting your value and you've got to pay attention. Well, all of this, Heather, is kind of discovered when someone comes into our office. Mm-hmm. They get a complimentary second opinion. Mm-hmm. We provide them a portfolio x-ray.
Okay.
You may be saying, well, what is that? Well, we provided it to this gentleman in Sterling, and he's got $1.5 million, wanting a second opinion, retiring here in a few years, 67 years old. And he came in for all these reasons. And he was saying, you know what, Abe, I want a second opinion. I'm 67. I'm wanting to pull the trigger and retire here soon in the next couple of years. I don't know what I have really. I've got a bunch of stuff that I've accumulated. That
what do you call it?
Junk drawer.
There it is, the junk drawer. Yeah.
That financial junk drawer. That junk drawer that you love to open, and those statements that you love to open when the markets are up, seeing those new values. I mean, people still brag about it today. They're like, my 401k is up 18%, and I'm like, that's fantastic. But we also need a plan when the markets slide and go down too.
Yeah.
And when they go down, those same people typically are not opening up their statements and do not want to see what that loss is.
Head in the sand analogy, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? When you translate that negative 18 into a dollar value on $1 million, that's a negative $180,000.
Yeah.
So the pain on the down is way more than the joy on the up for most people, especially our clients. Well, going back to this gentleman, as we did the portfolio x-ray for him and kind of put that financial junk drawer into a well thought out, comprehensive, actionable plan for him to retire, what we actually found out was that he did himself have 401ks, and he also owned several variable annuities, which we typically do not like.
I was going to say, there are different kinds of annuities, and variable is the one you always are shaking your head at, right?
Yeah, typically the ones we do not care for. I would say most of the industry probably doesn't care for them either, typically because they're high in cost and fees. Well, we did the analysis on his. We found the prospectuses for the products he owns through big-time companies that you would have heard of. Total annual product cost over 3%. That is a hurdle.
Well,
that a client.
Yeah, I mean, just quick math on $1 million. 3% is $30,000 a year.
$30,000 in annual fees on $1 million. He's got $1.5 million. That's a hurdle that a client has to jump over every year. Like, let's say, Heather, you told me you're a conservative investor and you'd be happy with a 5% return. You'd have to make 8% every year
to cover that,
to cross over that 3% hurdle, right?
Yeah, which
is. You'll probably be able to get that from time to time in the markets, that 8 or higher, right? But you also have losses and returns that are lower. So that was his problem. And the solution was really to look back at everything he has and kind of put him into a plan that's going to be better suited for him as he transitions into retirement, a plan and strategies that will better align with his future goals, reducing fees, reducing the risk, creating an income plan, creating a comprehensive plan that wraps as much protection around his life savings as possible so he can retire with as much added dignity and confidence. That was all done through that portfolio x-ray. So if you sound like this gentleman in Sterling, Virginia, and you say, you know what, I might be single as well, Abe, or widowed or divorced, and I've got $1 million or $2 million saved, bunch of stuff everywhere, accounts everywhere, I could use some consolidation, just a well thought out, actionable phase 2 plan. As I transition into retirement, go to the retirementkey.com, our website. Click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, and we can begin to have these same conversations about your portfolio as well.
We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there to go to our website, which is, again, theretirementkey.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit retirementkeyradio.com. And join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m.
Investment advisory services offered through Abish Financial Wealth Management, LLC, number 310633, a registered investment advisor firm. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish is licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abish Financial Services, Inc., Virginia Insurance License number 127820.